What's up, everybody? Sudeep Tumma back here with another NBA draft player breakdown. This time we'll be looking at Jalen Duren, the talented center from Memphis. There's a lot of things going for him. 6'11", 250 pounds, high motor player. The body type, the NBA ready body type, reminds you of a DeAndre Ayton, Bam Adebayo, a lot of those guys he's compared to. And to me, I see a lot of Bam Adebayo to his game, and we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about this guy. Very unique game. He is physically strong, very strong, obviously, 6'10", 250. There's a lot of muscle packed in there, good mobility. But to me, his skill set is 100% raw. I mean, you talk about a guy who's, got some, needs to be polished up, needs some of his things to be refined, but he's got a lot of skills and a lot of traits that are very interesting. When you talk about him being raw, he's not raw in the places that you would expect him to be. And in fact, he's good in those places and raw in other aspects that you would expect him to be able to finish at. But there's a reason this guy is talked about as a top 5, potential top 10 pick. And it starts here. This is, I think, my favorite thing about Jalen Duren. Talk about the playmaking ability. This guy's got a very savvy ability to find guys. He's got great vision, throws the ball with a lot of velocity, on time and on target. And he does it in a variety of ways. Here you're going to see him in the low post, catch out of that. He's on the perimeter, out of short rolls, in the high-low game, touch passes. I mean, he gives you a bunch of different ways to, attack defenses, which is such a luxury. And in today's game, it's almost a necessity to have your big men pass the way they do. But a guy like Duren, with his body type, you don't expect him to be anything more than just, a pick-and-roll, big body who's going to roll down and finish through contact. But you see it here. Gets the ball down the right pass here, and watch his head. He's already looking toward the middle. And that's what any big man should do. Not just put the ball on the floor, try to, bump bodies and get to the basket by bumping down, but rather this. Gets the ball, sees this guy right there in the corner, wide open cut, obviously, and gets it in easy too. And like I said, Duren's, he's got an old school game. He does. It's kind of something of a, back to basket, bump bodies, get there, physical, which is good, I guess. It's a different fit, but you see some of that in the NBA, but not as much as you used to. But it's skills like this, the passing. You're gonna see a couple clips of the passing because it is so impressive to me. And watch here, Memphis player takes it to the wing almost, and watch, Duren's gonna get the ball here. And what I love, this is really guard-like. His passing is, I think, point guard-like in a lot of aspects. And watch, this one is, a little advanced pass. This is a very high level advanced pass. Watch him receive the ball here. He's right here, down in that baseline, gets the ball, and dumps off. But here's why it is so impressive. When you talk about, manipulating with your eyes and so on, what the really great passers do is they manipulate with their body. They make you feel like that. And now watch Duren, watch in slow motion. Gets the ball, and watch him dip. Right, he's dipping his shoulders down, his knees down. What does that tell you as a defender instinctually? That means he is about to explode up and finish through contact. So what do you do as a defender? You jump up. And what does Duren do? He dumps off to a wide open Memphis player. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean, body manipulation. That is awesome. That is very next level, and that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're not just dumping it off. I mean, the defender, the weak side help on that play for Western Kentucky, number 3. He knows that that dude is right there. He's covering him. That's who he's coming off of. But when you do that and you fully, commit to that, it is impossible to stop. See, it gets to there, dump off. Perfect. Love it. And this is something that's really starting to become more and more of a thing. You talk about the traditional pick and roll game, and you talk about, obviously, setting a pick and rolling to the basket, all the way to the basket. Guard's going to have the ball, forward's going to have the ball until they get rid of it. And if you're catching it near the basket, ready to score. But this is something we see a lot with Draymond Green, with the Golden State Warriors, on short rolls. When Steph Curry gets, predictably, will get blitzed, will get trapped. And what do as a guard? You either dribble a few more, don't pass it to your big man because he's not able to make a decision, or you knock it immediately to a Draymond Green or a big man who is able to do something with that. And Jalen Duren really excels in this situation, and I think Penny Hardaway does a great job of putting him in those situations. Because from here, you can see when he gets the ball, he's so comfortable finding guys. He knows it automatically becomes a 4-on-3. He knows where the open guys are. He can hit the mid range from there, and you watch it here, right? Let's step back for a second. Duren's up here running down, setting that pick. What does Bama do? They trap him, right? They bring the two guys right there. And normally, like I said, let's look at the other side of this coin. If that ball doesn't go to Duren right now, what happens? That Memphis guard will keep dribbling around and around, and then Alabama's defense will reset. The pick and roll becomes negated. Instead, you get the ball out early. Now, obviously, it's easy to see, but not every team has a guy who's able to do something like Duren when they get the ball. But you watch Duren here. Right, pass comes to him. First off, good hands to catch that. A little wobbly. And then when he gets it, he senses that strong side help defender who has to close in because you have a gigantic Jalen Duren coming at you right here, this dude. So what happens? Duren gets the ball, immediately knocks it to the right, wide open three. And like I said, on those short rolls, he really excels as a passer. You see this all the time. Memphis does it all the time because he's so good at that. And from there, sometimes he just stops, catches it, and shoots a mid-range. You're going to see some of that too. And as we talk about the mid-range, this is one of the assets I talk about again when you talk about a guy who's raw in his post game. But here, he excels for whatever reason. He's a great mid-range shooter, and he's got those 16, 18 footers, hits him from the baseline. I've seen him not step back per se, but you kind of see him take a dribble back, wobble back and hit it. He clears some space sometimes with a slow jab step, if you want to call it. And over here, just watch the control and the confidence, right? Gets the ball down low. Over here, Duren catches it. Defender steps a little bit. Duren's got a good high release, right? I mean, no one's blocking that. Look how much space you have. This is enough space for, great mid-range shooters. This is a Jalen Duren 6'11", 250-pounder that you now have to account for his jump shot. Got a very smooth jump shot. Catches the ball. I mean, watch this. It's like ridiculous. Catches it. Easy. And this is what I'm talking about. Out of the short rolls like we talked about, he can hit that. You get him the ball in that high post, he can hit that. What does it do? It changes the rest of his game. Right now he doesn't have that. Oh, he's gonna pump fake off the mid range and then drive past you. That's not what we're talking about with this guy. But eventually it's gonna pay dividends. But just to have that in that area is so impressive. It's gonna help in the pick and pop game. In the NBA, it's gonna help in a lot of aspects. And over here, we saw one of the short rolls, but he also just excels as a pick and roll screener. His game is just so different right now, or rather, it is more basic, than we see with a lot of modern day big men. But there's nothing wrong with this, right? I mean, you talk about Steven Adams, how big he is, how great he is at setting screens. Watch Duren, right? Sets the screen, and then right here, this defender who's in drop coverage is obviously dropping. He set right here around that free throw line, and then the original defender chases back on the Memphis guard. So Duren, after setting the screen, which didn't clobber the man or anything, he just rolls straight. That's what I love. He rolls straight to the rim and commits to it, and that's what he does a lot of times. You just see him running harder in all aspects of the game, and get him straight there, and he's a lob threat. And you talk about his game, you see a lot of those simple things. And this is another one. When you talk about Jalen Duren, you're talking about a guy who, at this stage in his career, is really thriving in the pick and roll game, on dump offs like this one we're about to see, on putbacks, lobs, transition, simple things, right? That's where you get to 11 points a game in 25 minutes. Despite his strength, he's still kind of developing some of that post game. But you see him here, and I love his offensive awareness. He has a good feel for just where to inch in those subtle little places, and when he's around the basket, he is trying to dunk absolutely everything. Watch him here, right? He's over there near that baseline-ish area, and watch, he catches that just a few feet as that weak side help defender comes onto the dude. Duren's just sliding in subtly, catches it, and then from there, he's dunking it over you. There's no stopping. When he catches in 3 to 5 feet, whatever it might be, he is dunking on you. And you see the explosive vertical, 42-inch vertical, I believe the number is. He gets off the ground very quickly, and he was dunking it over you. Great wingspan. I don't remember the exact number, maybe 7'5", something like that. But he's got the length, he's got the vertical, and he's slamming everything he can over you. And this is what I love. You talk about this body, sometimes you don't get the same mobility that you would hope for. But at 250 pounds, this guy's still very light on his feet. He's got pretty solid, straight line speed, especially for his strength. He's not Keegan Murray running transition, but he is a very good athlete. And you love bigs who run the floor on both sides of the ball. And you watch it here, ball gets stolen, gets to Emoni Bates. And watch where Duren is right now once that ball gets hit. He's down here, right? He got a couple Murray State defenders back beyond him. But as soon as that ball's hit, watch him just dart down transition, right? He's beating 1, 2, and then from there, slams it down. Loves to slam things. And this we talk about. That's most of what his post-game is. It's pretty basic right now. But he has flashed some of that. And this is what his next step in his development will be. Obviously, you have the mid-range, which is already a helpful asset, which is what, this was talking about with the weird rawness, where you're not expecting a guy, if anything, you're expecting to have that low-post repertoire, but still doesn't have the jump shot, the three-point shot. He does not have a three-point shot. He does have a good mid-range shot, which is obviously good for his to expand his range, which I think will be important as well. But his low post game doesn't really have is pretty raw in terms of moves. Like, he scores pretty well. He has a very good touch around the rim. Still needs to improve his left hand. Doesn't really have a left hand. Everything's going toward the right. But he has some of the other assets. Really good footwork. Really good body control. Like I said, he's flashed some of the drop steps, the step throughs. Here you see a little spin move, and then the step through. Or rather, drop step. Excuse me. And then from the drop step, doesn't have his defender cleanly beat, has a little pump fake, and then goes up, right? Right here, drop, step through. I like that. And you don't see much of it. You're not going to see much of it right now. That's something he's got to really develop, but it's there. I mean, you talk about, like I said, footwork, body control. You build off of those things. And you build off of a 250-pound frame. You don't build a 250-pound frame. I mean, you could try, but there's a reason that athleticism and size really get you drafted in the NBA draft. And with that 6'11", 250-pound frame, talk about the length and the vertical, the physical traits. We also mentioned a high motor. And you see it here with his rebounding. In terms of boxing out, fundamentally, doesn't do the best of job, I don't think, but there's a reason he's still at 9 rebounds a game or whatever he's at. Very good rebounder, because he crashes a lot. And he's already so physically dominant that he's going to grab boards over you. And he boxes his guy out. I'll say this. When he's near the rim, you see him usually box his guy out pretty well. But when he's away, won't always do it, or we'll just subtly walk in, but it's there. But, with all those traits, physical traits, it's already so dominant. So you see him over here, down far side, weak side of the court. You see him just come in and crash in there and just grab it above everywhere else. There's a couple guys vying for that ball. But that's what I'm talking about. He's not in amazing position. He didn't box anyone out. But because of how physically dominant, and just rips it down. Easy rebound. And here, you'll see the same thing on the offensive rebounds. 2.6 offensive rebounds a game. Gets a lot of putbacks. This is part of his game as well. When you talk about 11 points per game, we mentioned, dump-offs and lob threat and blah, blah, blah. But also, he gets a lot of these, right? The offensive rebound goes up, he grabs the ball and puts it back up. Because he is, again, that physically dominant. Which is something you love. This is translatable. See the ball go up. And he's pointing for that ball to go up because he wants to grab that rebound. But dude gets it. That weak side help comes a little bit for Tulane. Peels off Duren just a little bit and enough over here to let Duren get in there and slam it. Like I said, he loves dunking things. But that's another place you'll see him really thrive. And over here, you talk about his defense. His defense is excellent. That's really one of his best traits. You talk about the physical dominance, the strength, the high motor, also the defense. His defensive versatility is excellent. A guy at 6'11", 250, unless he's able to move in today's game, it's tough. You can't really justify drafting a guy. But because of this, it really wraps up the whole package. And you'll see him here. It's not just, obviously, as you can imagine, 42-inch vertical. He can get up there and block shots with that length. But the reason I love him as a shot blocker so much, you'll watch here, the foot speed to slide. Watch him right there. He's right at that free throw line area. And when this ball goes up, watch how well he slides and his instincts. So over here, you'll be looking at this St. Louis player in the corner. He's going to make a beautiful backdoor cut for what should be an easy basket. Now, watch Jalen Duren, not the player who's cutting. Watch Jalen Duren. Watch how quickly he gets off his feet and goes. Slides and jump. That's what I'm saying. He gets off the ground so quickly. His foot speed to slide. That's what you love as a weak side help defender. He can do that so well, and he's just taking big strides and just explodes that mobility. Right. This should be an easy basket, but goes there and slams it down. You love that. And this also. I said defensive versatility. It's not just the weak side help. In Memphis' game, they switch, not everything, but they switch a lot, and they blitz a lot. A lot of traps where he does a good job of that. He's a very good pick and roll defender, and you'll see it here where he just switches straight onto a guard. Right, pick comes, and a lot of times they'll trap him, but here they don't. Here they just switch, and now you got Duren one-on-one. Most of the time, this is a mismatch, as you would think. But watch how well Duren slides and keeps up with him. And his lateral quickness is not elite by any measure. It's not the best, but he's got good enough lateral quickness, and it's the length and, again, the physical traits that help him really make that up. Watch it here. All right, sticks with him as that drive comes, and it's right here. At this point, the guard should have beat him cleanly, right? This should be an easy basket, as you would think. Nope. Let's go back. Now, let's watch it from the moment Duren gets onto him. Watch him slide, keep up with him, and then watch the finish. Yes, from here. Duren stick, slide with him, and then explode at the end. Yep. And this is what some of those, that obviously we talked about rim protecting in a traditional sense in the last clip, but over here it's that length that helps them keep up with that. And when you have guys switching and you talk about guys who can guard multiple positions, this is some of what you're talking about, the explosion. And that's what Duren gives you on defense. He gives you really a solid package there. And as an overall player, I mean, there's a lot to like with him. I think that playmaking really sticks out to me just because, I mean, a guy at his stature. And this is why I said I think he really compares to Bam Adebayo for that playmaking more than anything, but also the mid-range. We see a lot of that in the NBA nowadays with the Miami Heat, and Bam really doing that, making plays for others. And Bam's become such a good ball handler that he's the one bringing the ball down the court a lot of times. Duren doesn't have that. He runs in transition hard, but he does not have those point forward skills, and that's somewhere he can develop. The post game is somewhere he can develop. If he can get to a 3-point range, that's another place he can develop. So like I said, there's a lot of upside, but a lot of exciting upside. And there are holes, of course. Shoots a sub 50% free throw rate, which is not great, but shoots 63.6% from the field, which is obviously great, but you see why with the clips we saw and I shouldn't say easy baskets, but the simple nature of what he's getting, the dump offs, the lobs, etc., etc. But it's impressive nonetheless, and it speaks a lot to his touch and his footwork and his ability to finish things. And I mean, when I say finish, I mean dunk everything. But there is room for improvement, and there's a room for a lot of things with Jalen Duren, and with his already physical traits, you love what this guy brings. But that's been the evaluation of Jalen Duren and this potential top 5 pick. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a great day.